Alright, in this lecture we are going to talk about conditional execution. Every day when we get up in the morning, we make some decisions. For instance, if it is raining, we will use an umbrella so that we don't get wet. And if the weather temperature is greater than 20 Celsius, we will not wear a coat. So these are the decisions that we are making in the morning. So another decision might be like this: if you are late to work, we will take a taxi instead of bus over here. Now this type of decision making is called type branching. If one condition is true, we are doing one thing. If the condition is not true, we are doing another thing. So in this case, if one condition is true, that is, if the temperature is above 20 Celsius, we will not wear a coat. Otherwise, we will wear a coat. So if this condition is true, we are not going to wear a coat because it's going to be very hot. In fact, we can represent this mechanism with a conditional statement. When temperature is greater than 20, then we should not wear a coat. But if the temperature is not greater than 20, then we should wear a coat. So as you can see, our condition starts from here. Then we are checking that if today's temperature is greater than 20 or not. So if it is greater than 20, in this case, we are not wearing a coat. If it is not greater than 20, if it is less than 20, in this case, we are going to wear a coat, not to be cold. So this type of conditional statement is known as if-else statement. So depending on particular condition, we will do either A or B. And when we want to write Python code to represent this, it's going to look like this. So here you can easily see that we have a keyword if, and then we have condition. Now after condition, we are going to put colon. Now after colon, over here, you see that we have got indented block of code, which should be executed if this if condition is met. So if this if condition is true, we are going to execute this part of code over here. And here, one more time, I want to mention that it is indented code. So as you can see, this block of code is not located at the same level with the if condition. So it should be indented over here. Otherwise, we will have problem in Python. Because in Python, the indentation is very important. Then, if the condition is not true, then we will skip this code from here and we will continue to the else condition. So here again, we have else keyword and then colon. Then after colon, we have this block of code over here, and this is also indented code. You can see we have a space over here. You can put space or tab, or when you hit the enter over here, the code will indent it automatically in many code editors. So here, if this condition is not met, we are going to continue to read part of this code and we are going to implement this code. So we could represent the previous weather situation with the code something like this. So here, if I create a temperature variable like this with assigned value of 15, then here the code block can be like this. So first we are checking that if this temperature is greater than 20, in this case we are not going to wear a coat. Otherwise we are going to wear a coat. So if the temperature is 15, in this case it's going to print out to the console wear a coat, because in this case the weather is, so we need to wear a coat. So let's put this into practice with real life problem. So let's say you have got a job at a mortgage bureau, and your first job of the day is that to write some code that identifies if someone is eligible for mortgage or not. So we need to check eligibility of person who wants mortgage. Now there's a couple of things that you need to think about. Firstly, in order for somebody to actually get a mortgage, their salary has to be above $2,000. So we have to check that what their salary is, and based on that, we are going to decide if they are eligible for mortgage or not. Now if you look at this flowchart, basically the logic that we have to write our program is shown over here. So our program starts from here and we are asking from user what their salary is. Then after getting the salary, we are going to check that if the salary is greater than 2,000 or not. So in this case, if the salary is greater than 2,000, we are printing out saying that you can get mortgage. Otherwise, if it is not greater than 2,000, we are going to print out saying that you cannot get mortgage over here. Now, based on this flowchart over here, let's head over to Replit and create our program in practice by using if-else condition. Now here, the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to greet a user. So to greet a user, I'm just going to print out welcome message. So it's going to be like this, print. So we are going to put welcome to mortgage calculator. Then after doing so, we need to ask from user about their salary. So to get the salary, we are going to use input function over here. So in this case, I'm going to create a variable which is called salary, and I'm going to assign the value that we are getting from input functions to this variable over here. So it's going to be like this, input. So as a prompt over here, we are going to put what is your salary. Now then, if you run our program, it's going to ask from a user what is their salary. Now we know that whenever we are getting a value with input function, it's going to be string value. But in this case, we need an integer value. So that's why I'm just going to convert this value to integer. So it's going to be like this. Integer, inside this function, we are going to put input, what's your salary. Now after getting salary, we are going to check that if the typed salary is greater than 2000 or not. So in this case, as we mentioned before, we are going to use if keyword, then we are going to put the condition, which is if the salary is greater than 2000, then we are going to add colon over here. So it's going to be like this. If this is the keyword, so we are going to put the condition salary, this is the variable that we are getting from here, is greater than 2000. Then after finishing this condition, we are going to put colon. Now after putting the colon, if we hit enter, you will see that our cursor is indented over here. So as you can see, our cursor is not come over here, it's come over here, which is indented. So this is very crucial in Python because you have to be very careful about indentation. Now this means that whatever I'm going to write over here is going to be executed if this condition is met. So if I put something over here, we are going to get error. We have to put it indented level. So if the salary is greater than 2000, we are going to print out saying that you are eligible for mortgage. So it's going to be like this. You are eligible for mortgage. Then after finishing this, we are going to write else condition. Now here also you have to be very careful because if I hit enter, you will see that the cursor comes to with the same level with the print statement. But else condition should be in the same level with if condition because these are pairs. So that's why else if should be in the same level. So that's why I'm just going to remove the indentation from here and I'm going to put else condition over here. So after putting else condition, if I put colon over here and hit enter one more time, you see that we have indentation over here. So the condition that we have inside if is starting from here, and the code that we are going to have inside else condition will be in the same level as the print statement that we have inside if. So these are located in the same level, in the same indentation level, and this if and else condition are located in same indentation level. So if this is not the case, we are going to put that print, sorry, you are not eligible for mortgage. So with this, we have successfully implemented the logic for checking eligibility of a person for mortgage calculator. So I know that this is very simple. There are many other conditions that we need to take into account when we are checking the eligibility of person for mortgage. Here just I've put only one condition in which we are checking the only salary. Now here the really important things are the condition that we are putting over here. So this is the condition. Then the syntax of code. So in this case the syntax is else, if and else. So if is the keyword and else is the keyword, and you need to take into account that after these conditions we need to put a colon over here. And finally the most important thing over here is indentation. So everything that we have, so everything that is indented if block is a block of code. So this means that if I put something over here, it's going to execute if this condition is met. So we can put as many lines as that we want over here. So it's not, we don't have any limitation over here. So as far as we put the indented level, it's going to execute this block of code if this condition is met. So there is no limit of number of statements that it can appear in the body over here. So we have to provide at least one line of code inside this if condition over here. Another important moment over here, as I mentioned, it is indentation. So if you mess up with the indentation, you will get an error. For example, if I put print statement over here without indented, you will see that the code editor says that something is wrong over here. If I run our code, you'll see that it's printing out indentation error over here. So it says that print is not expected as an indented block over here. So this means that after if condition, we have to put our code in indented level. So it's going to be like, now after finishing this block of code, if I run our code in proper way with indented level, so you'll see that the first thing that it does, it's greeting our user and says that what's your salary. For example, if I put as a salary 1000 and hit enter, you will see that in this case it says that you are not eligible. Sorry, you are not eligible. Now if I run our code one more time and put something which is greater than 2000, 2500, so in this case you will see that it says that you are eligible for mortgage. So based on the input that we have provided to the program, it's executing different parts of code over here. So this is called conditional execution. So by using if and else statements, we are able to get our code to do different things. Either printing this line of code over here, or printing this line of code over here. Now when we use this greater sign over here, effectively we are saying that the salary has to be greater than 2000. Now for example, if I run our code for 2000 itself, so what will happen in this case? In this case, it's going to print out, sorry, you are not eligible for the mortgage. So this means that in this case, it's not included 2000 over here. Now if you want to include 2000 over here, we can use the operators that we have learned in our previous lecture. So we have learned that we can use equal operator, which is 2 equal sign. So if I run our code in this case, and for example, if I enter 2000 and hit enter, you will see that in this case it says that you are eligible for mortgage. But in this case, the ideal version of code for our case can be like this. So we are going to use greater equal sign. So as we said before, first we are putting greater sign, then we are putting equal sign. So if I run our code, you will see that if I enter 2000 and hit enter, in this case it says that you are eligible for mortgage. So everything works the way that we want. So here we can use other operators as well. So we can use not equal operator, which is exclamation mark and equal sign, or we can use less equal operator like this. So we can use all operators that we have learned in our previous lecture. Now here it's important to mention that you can use print statement without else statement over here. So if I delete this part of code, for example, and run our code, it's also true. It's going to ask our salary. So this is coming from this line of code. So if I put, for example, 2500 and hit enter, you will see that it says that you are eligible for mortgage. But what will happen if I put something less than 2000 over here? So let's see. If I run our code one more time and put, for example, 1000 over here and hit enter, you will see that in this case nothing happens because this condition is not met and we don't have else conditions. So there's not any code to be executed over here. So this means that we can use this if condition for special cases over here without else condition. So every time we don't need to provide else condition. So if we don't need it, we can skip it. Another important point over here is, for example, when you are writing a code and you don't know what you are going to put over here, for example, if the condition is met, you don't remember that what you are going to put over here. So you can put just pass keyword over here. So pass keyword does nothing. It's just passing this condition over here. So for example, in this case, if I run our code, put something which is greater than 2500 and hit enter, you see that in this case, it's just passing. So this is just skipping this part of code over here. So here you can put pass and put some comments that in the future what you are going to write over here. So you can use this pass keyword as a placeholder for your code that you have not written yet. Now with this, we have come to the end of this lecture. So in this lecture, we have learned, so how can we use if and else condition in our code, and how can we get our program to execute the code based on the different conditions over here. So hopefully everything is clear about if and else conditions. So see you in the next lecture.